Alec! Alec! Alec!
Wow.
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 Wow. Wow. You're getting up. It's the time. Time to get up. Do you want some breakfast? God. Is that oh God yes or oh God no?
I never eat breakfast.
Coffee?
No. Yes. No. Yes. No. I mean yes. Yes to coffee. Please. Who's close?
Don't know.
Where is everyone?
Probably at college. How'd you sleep?
Great, no problem.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm tough.
What a breakfast.
What's wrong with it?
Well, look at him.
So?
What a breakfast.
What's wrong with it?
Well, look at him.
So?
So, it's not like Mother used to make. So, it's not like Mother used to make. So, it's not like Mother used to make.
So, you should get out of this place.
So, you keep saying.
I mean, it's so depressing. Get a flat like me.
I don't think I could live like you. What you going to do about tonight?
Oh, I'm okay for tonight. I'll pick up the keys to my place at lunchtime. Hey, do you want to come over there? It's only in Finsbury Park.
Nah, I'm going home for the weekend.
Oh, right.
What's that in aid of?
Well, it's for a psychology experiment. We need a selection of everyday objects and a selection of people's faces. I said I'd get the objects and my beautiful assistant Marilyn can get the faces. Did I tell you about her? Marilyn? This is hers, actually.
Brando.
Well, yeah. That's the nickname. She got it from the way she talks. Without, like, oddly moving her lips. She tried out for dram sock and someone nicknamed her Marilyn Brando.
How can you afford a flat anyway?
Well, for a start, I'm sharing. And also, I'm economising on things like, on breakfast and,
Clothes?
well, yeah. You noticed, eh?
Everyone's noticed.
Oh, they have they? Well, anyway, I still can't afford it. Got out at 600 a term, so I've got to get a job.
What sort of job?
A waiter, what else?
Anywhere in particular?
Yeah, the Pizza Hut in Islington.
How did you find out about it?
Well, it's something that Marilyn said. She works there a few nights a week. And she said she was working extra nights because some guy quit. Or was fired. I forget which.
Miss Marilyn sounds like a pretty useful person.
Extremely useful. And extremely intelligent.
So why wasn't Alex sleeping with her instead of on the floor in my room? When it came to that, Alec didn't go in for sleeping that much anyway.
I wouldn't say that. So when you say sleeping, you really do mean sleeping. Now you're putting words in my mouth.
Who, me? Little Mr. Innocence.
That's me.
Actually, I hardly ever see her except in Psych. It would be really easy to kid Don and pretend there's some big romance going on. But do I need that right now? Besides, his mind is supplying him with more than enough of those fantasies already.
I see.
He's being so coy, he's obviously concealing something. I'll probably read about their engagement tomorrow in the Times. Well, I don't mind. That's the way friendships are down here. Very superficial. Everyone's so defensive.
What are the girls like in physics?
There are only two. One's engaged, and the other is unacceptable.
I don't believe it.
It's true. The unacceptable face of physics.
Behold, a vision. What? It's her, the wild one.
On the bicycle?
No, Don. What's it look like?
Oh, is that, what's her name?
Brando.
It was all bluff, of course. Nothing he does is as simple as it seems. If he thinks you're smart, he pretends to be dumb. If he thinks you're introverted, he'll be extroverted and vice versa. But the object was always to gain the advantage. He had learned to use his self like a Harrier jet.
The Hawker Harrier is really the perfect example. Whichever way you look at it, it's a success story. Of course, it's also a warplane, but these are hard times. British invention is rarely matched by British industry. For the usual reasons. It can't afford it. In theory, a radical concept can be researched and developed to meet the requirements of industry. But that takes a lot of time and a lot of money. The sort of money that usually only the government can provide. All research faces the same problems and is vulnerable to the same fluctuations of policy.
Come on through them at me from the Dennis House window.
There is always the prospect of smaller budgets, staff reductions, and the rounds of cost-saving measures.
Oi, Alex! Where?
How do they justify the survival of one line of research at the expense of another? Supposedly by determining priorities according to market requirements. Priorities always lie with the research that arguably serves the greatest and most immediate of interests. A radical concept, one that diverges from the mainstream, is always more speculative in its implications and hence more vulnerable. But one interest that will always determine priority is the national interest. In the name of defence, a concept like the Harrier jump jet can spend years being developed and perfected. From the initial studies in 1957 to the production of the GR5 in the 80s, its evolution could hardly be other than that of a fighter.
most radical aspect of the Harrier's design is its engine, which employs the principle of vectored thrust. This enables the plane to take off vertically and maneuver by redirecting the thrust of the engine through swiveling nozzles on the side of the plane. This enables the plane to take off vertically so it doesn't need much space to land or take off in, but it does require a lot of power. And because it can produce this power, in terms of its thrust-weight ratio, it has many of the characteristics of larger supersonic fighters, such as rapid climb and high acceleration, as well as the additional capability of redirecting its engine thrust in forward flight. The now famous biffing. In trials held by the US Marines, Harriers consistently outfought larger, more powerful American jets like the F-15 and the F-18, and this superiority was almost entirely attributed to its vectoring in forward flight, biffing ability. It simply doesn't behave like any other aircraft.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you again, Warren. I think I'll go and have some lunch now.
Aren't you going to wait for your coffee?
Oh.
Because of the Harrier's slower speed, the now famous technique of biffing allows the faster hostile aircraft to deliberately stalk the Harrier.
Alec,
Oh, hi.
I was hoping I'd find you here.
Sorry?
I was hoping I'd find you here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've lined up my 6 subjects.
Oh, for the photographs. Well done.
Did you do the objects?
Yeah, no problem. I'll have to use a wristwatch instead of an alarm clock, though.
Oh, good. Where are they?
Well, I didn't bring them with me today.
Did you bring the camera?
Well, no.
The hostile aircraft then accelerates to eliminate the margin for evasive action.
Why not?
Well, I didn't think you wanted them today.
But we agreed Friday.
Did we?
Of course we did.
Then, with the hostile aircraft committed to a kill position, the Harrier suddenly applies its vector thrust.
Can I bring it round to you this evening?
No, I'm working this evening.
Ah.
Now, vector thrust.
So you're still working extra nights?
Right.
Then there's still that vacancy for a waiter.
Well, yes, but...
Great, I've been meaning to ask you about that. I need a job now as well, you see. In fact, I could bring the camera up to you tonight and see about the job at the same time. How about that? Have a coffee.
Hi, Margaret.
Oh, hello.
I was wondering if I could borrow your camera this afternoon.
Yes. When do you want it?
Well, right now, if I could.
Well, I haven't actually got it with me right now.
Oh.
But I can get it for you easily enough.
Oh, that's really kind of you.
That's okay. Can you look after my things? It's just over in my car.
Okay.
Thanks, Margaret. See? Problem solved.
Quick thinking, Cam. So where are you two going anyway?
To get a key cut for my new flat. Warren's my new flatmate.
Oh, you finally found a cheap flat.
Not that cheap. That's why I need the job.
And you too?
No, my wife works.
That's what you need.
You volunteering?
Oh no, my mother warned me about men in tracksuits.
Hey, what about lunch?
I've already eaten.
Nah, I'm not really hungry either.
Why don't you buy some more clothes with the money you save on meals?
Well, I do. I buy tracksuits.
But why? You're not an athlete of any kind.
No? Just like the look of them.
Professor Herring thinks you're some kind of athlete.
Maybe I am. The psychological athlete. The new breed.
You going to the party tonight?
What, Marianne's?
Yeah.
My part in this conversation consisted entirely of silences. A tactical withdrawal was called for. At a certain point, it's better not to even listen. But there were limits to how much elbow room I could give them. What I had to do was give my train of thought an abrupt change of direction. A vector thrust was needed for my concentration. I decided to land on the first available surface, which happened to be a new book by Shirley Conrad.
Oh, I found those papers by Dr. Salmon, by the way.
Oh, the schizo thingies?
Yeah.
How nice. Someday you'll get a first, Brando.
I know.
I wonder what Shirley Conran's up to, I asked myself. By the look of it, Superwoman's taken up gardening. On the cover, she was sitting in front of her garden, wearing black trousers and a white sweater. She looked very enthusiastic.
I didn't think you liked parties.
I don't. It gives me a chance to see some friends I don't see much anymore.
What, at college?
Yeah.
Which department?
Philosophy.
Uh-oh. Does it mean it's going to be one of those parties?
What parties?
Well, one of those high-flown intellectual parties.
Well, not if you come.
I was bearing in on this image with all my concentration now. I noted the clean white plimsolls, a gold bracelet, a wristwatch, necklace and earrings. This was all no doubt part of a shrewd choice. This image had to say just the right thing. And Shirley Conran would know exactly what she wanted to say. She always had a lot of control over things. That's what made her Superwoman, I suppose.
I don't know. Should I bring a bottle or a book?
Bring some records.
Oh, really? Do intellectuals dance?
Only if they like the music.
Apart from having a baby, gardening is the nearest thing on this earth to magic. It makes you feel powerful, creative, satisfied, peaceful and fulfilled. It was the kind of statement that seemed calculated to inspire cynicism in a young man. What was Superwoman trying to tell me? Were these feelings otherwise denied her? In her last book, she advised women to have a career and be independent, while the story served to illustrate the singular lack of judgment where men were concerned, and a subsequent fear and distrust of them. Was it selfishness or insecurity? In any case, gardening only needed one person. That was the other thing she should have mentioned.
But it's no substitute for sex, Shirley.
I was just putting in time before going home.
Bass. Vision, dreams of passion.
It looked like being just another party to me. That was the famous Rachel Kaufperson and her girlfriend Griselda. They felt the party was not really valid and were preparing to leave. Rachel was a film critic with a popular London leisure guide, and Griselda was an independent filmmaker. They were the evening's special guest stars. Then she noticed Warren and told him she didn't think that was very funny.
I don't think that's very funny. Are you trying to make some kind of statement, or what?
Reactionary post-Falklands jingoism.
Well, I find it pretty offensive, I don't mind telling you.
Rather tired and obvious for my taste.
Yes, well, student humour ain't what it used to be.
She was the kind of critic that used ain't to indicate her cynicism. I found that interesting. I hadn't realized they actually talked like that.
Feeding time. I'm not kidding you. It'll land on top of...
Well, what's so offensive about it?
I suppose you can justify the enormous amount spent on defence, can you?
Yes, I'd be interested in hearing this as well.
Well, I suppose
You suppose?
it's, in order to maintain a, effective deterrent.
Oh, God, honestly.
Defence as a deterrent. How naive can you get? Can't you see it doesn't deter wars at all? All it does is to displace the hostilities onto the poor, exploited parts of the world. It doesn't reduce conflicts, it sustains them. And that is the ultimate form of capitalist oppression. That's why women understand the threat so well and are prepared to oppose it. Even in avant-garde film practice, we confront this issue. Last month, we were filming 4 prostitutes on their way to join a protest outside a US missile base in Suffolk. And do you know what they said?
I couldn't guess.
Who weren't?
They said that in order to subvert the appropriation of the symbolic into the imaginary, to create spaces within the discourse that systematically deny the positioning of subject and object, you must first consider the materialist determinants that articulate desire. To merely approach this camp with your film equipment can only perpetuate this passage, which is our passage of the subject and the symbolic. What you must do is to approach this camp before us without your status and equipment in order to analyze and anticipate your own structures of recognition. That is the fetishism that constitutes your own coherence.
So?
So that's what we did. We went ahead by ourselves into the camp.
And they stole our equipment.
So that was the end of the film then?
Well, we're applying for a completion grant.
Mind if I invade your airspace? 1, 2. I counted them all out, and I counted them all back again.
And this is dedicated to you, Cheryl.